What I would like to do now is start to look at adding some details to the box, and we're going to treat each part separately. We will shell them, so in other words we will make the boxes hollow, or the two parts hollow, to join together, okay, which is really important and we have to do that. But to begin with, we're going to look at adding a screen. Now, before we just cut a hole in this for a screen, what we're going to do is we're going to create an offset surface. So that is the surface that we're going to copy, but we're going to set it a distance away from the original surface so that we can extrude to that new surface. That will make more sense as I show you now, hopefully. So, first thing that we need to do is we need to select the surface. So this is the surface on top of the box that I want. And just to be clear, I'll hide the bottom. Okay, so we know that we're only working on the top. Then what we want to do is create that as an offset surface. Okay, so what we need to do is go to the offset surface tab or icon, which is up here. Okay, you'll see these other ones here. These are to do with modifying and changing faces. That's related to this, but to begin with, what we want to do is we're just going to offset this face of this surface. So if I spin my work round now, you will see that what it's done is it's copied that exact shape, but it's raised it up into the air by 5 millimeters. Well, actually, what I want to do in this instance is I want it to go into my work. I don't want it to go very far, so we're going to go 2 millimeters into our work. And of course, one of the things that becomes difficult here is to actually be able to see, okay, because of the way with a surface that's smaller, you can't see it because of the outside surface. So we just have to believe that the surface is there. It is because it's here. Okay, so I can highlight it. You can't see it. Then I highlight it and you can see now it's inside. Now we've created that, what I want to do is create a sketch above this top surface. So in order to do that, we're going to select the plane tool and pick this plane, and it will automatically try and do 25 millimeters up in the air. Now that should be perfect, although we just want to make sure that we don't have any issues just in case your surface, okay, is slightly taller than that. So I'm actually just going to change mine to be 30. Then we're going to accept. So now I've got a new plane, I can do a new sketch onto that plane up in the air. I'm going to press the N key to normalize my sketch, and I want to sketch a rectangle from the top here and down. Okay, so ideally what I would like this rectangle to be is 45 millimeters in diameter, or across in length. And in terms of its distance, and notice I could measure this one, I'm actually going to measure this one from here to here, that set distance. I'm going to change that one to be 65. Okay. Now what I want to do is also make sure that this is in the right place. So I want it to be higher up here. So I'm going to select that line and I'm going to select this edge here. Okay. And now I've got those two. It means I've got that little bit more control, okay, of exactly where I want it to go. And you can see there that I've changed this to 7.5. I'm just going to edit that again, change it to 10. So now I'm going to accept my work. Spin it round in 3D so you can see. I'm going to select the extrude tool. I'm going to pick that last sketch that I've just done, sketch 2. I want it to go the other way. I want to remove the material. So of course at the moment it just wants to go all the way through. And actually what it's just showing, if you see here now on the screen, gone grey is actually the surface that I want. So I'm going to change the blind extrusion, and I'm going to say up to a face, or up to face. So I'm going to select that one, and then what it wants me to do is pick that face. Now this is where it's tricky because I can't see it. So I have two choices, okay? The easiest way to do this is just to pick it here. So up to face, pick that one. So let me try that again. Okay, normally this works absolutely fine, and of course it's deciding not to right now. So I'll use the other method, which is you hold down the right mouse button over the top of the surface and you choose select other, because what I'm trying to do there is pick this top face. Well, I don't want that. So now, if you notice, I can go down the list. So if I hover over face of offset surface 1 and select that, it now has actually picked that one. I'm checking that it says remove, which is correct, and I want to say OK. So I don't know why it wouldn't let me pick it here. It normally does. Okay. So now it's saying me it didn't regenerate. So I'm going to look at it again. My arrow's going the wrong way. That won't help. That now makes it work. Okay, so little details just to check. Everything was right with what I did, but I just didn't check on the direction of the arrow. Let me accept that. So now you can see it, but you see it with this strange kind of pattern going across it. That's because it's a surface that we don't want to see. So what we could do is hide it, okay, by here with a little eye. And so that's now created that surface. Then what I want to do, now we've created that, is we're going to actually draw like a similar rectangle, and we're going to extrude it all the way through. So let me sketch again on here. But when I say that we're going to extrude it all the way through, we're not going to do that straight away. We're going to do the sketch for it, and then we're going to shell our work. And you'll see why I've done it that way. If you notice as I'm drawing this, it will try and snap to this line. You'll maybe encounter some difficulties if you let it snap to that. So it's usually better to draw something that doesn't snap to anything, which gives you control. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure the distances between parts. Okay, so should let me do that. I don't understand why. Let me try that again. There to there. Okay, so it's not wishing to do that measurement, as you can see. So I need to do a different one. So if I do from here to the center line, again, misbehaving. Okay, so I've got to think, why is that? Usually there is a good reason as to why. So let me first of all then dimension my sketch. Okay, so there we've got 37. So I'm going to change that to be 38, just for the moment. And then I'm going to do the total distance of this, and we're going to change that to 60. Remembering, of course, that we did 65 for the whole thing. I'm going to press escape on my keyboard and should be able to now just drag that box down. And because I've added dimensions, of course, it remembers those dimensions. So now I'm going to go back. I'm going to edit that one and change to 40, but I want it to be in the middle. So I'm going to add a new dimension, which is to the center, which again, it doesn't seem to wish to let me do. And I wish I could tell you the reason why. Let me see. Okay, unsure as to why at this time, but that is something that I will investigate and find out the reason. I genuinely don't know. Okay, for the moment we're going to accept it anyway, and we'll come back and edit this. The next thing that we want to do, sorry, I've just realised the reason why is because the other sketch is on a curve. So I will show you how to sort that out in a minute. What we want to do now is hollow this box, so we're going to shell it. Now the reason we did this before the shell is because now when we do the shell, it should shell a mould around that shape. So you can see if I zoom in, okay, so the last extrusion that we did to the curved surface, the shell is now shelling around that, so I have a constant thickness. If I'd have shelled it first and then done that last extrusion, actually I would have ended up with a great big hole in my work because of the thickness of the shell. Now, for most of the things that we'll ever do, a shell of 2.5 is actually really good. You can go lower than that and you can go higher. You normally don't go that much thicker. The most you could ever go down to is about 1.7. 2.5 though is good, so we're just going to accept. Okay, and so that is the first step.